if and you can tell me if you don't know, like, in Ashkenazi families, one a consistent theme that you will hear amongst anybody is, I have a grandfather who was in the Holocaust, but I can't tell you anything about it. He refuses to tell me about it. Or now, especially as most Holocaust survivors are passing away, you start to hear things like, oh yeah, he wouldn't talk about it until the end of his life. And I'm wondering if, for you, as someone who from a Mizrahi family, from a Lebanese family, you have a certain also history, right? And I think that we forget about that a lot in terms of what it was like for the Jews in the Arab world. Obviously, they didn't go through the Holocaust, but they were nonetheless victims of significant Jew hatred to such a degree that they were forced to flee. And you're talking about, you knew your great grandfather, right? So if you think about when your great grandfather was born and the life that he knew and what it meant to live in Beirut with, this Jewish community that had really been in the area for so long. And now you have your great grandparents, your grandparents, and also your dad as well, who had to leave. And so did that impact at all? What's some of the similarities that somebody maybe from an Ashkenazi family could relate to, or that they wouldn't know, that you would want to kind of explain to them, or really anybody that is understanding of what does it mean for this generations of Jews that ends in Lebanon, that ends with your parents, grandparents, and great grandparents?
That's actually a really good question, but also a tough one at the same time, because I guess I can say I was definitely lucky enough to have all four of my grandparents. I had my grandma's parents, so my great grandparents, and my mom and dad in my life, who are all immigrants. So I'm a first generation American. And essentially, with that, they will always tell you life in the old country, life in the old country. This happened when I was there. We had to do this to get this, do that to get that. And the way they spoke about Lebanon, they would never disrespect Lebanon because they spoke of the country so highly. But then once the war happened, it seemed like a lot changed for them, as you know people who lived in the country. And it seems crazy to me because when I look at my dad's old documents, my dad still has his Lebanese. It's not even a passport technically. It's a laissez-passer, which is a document from the United Nations that enables non-citizens of the country to travel.